only have the traditional Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Forestry, or any other like the National Development Commission. Let's have more unconventional partners on this climate change agenda. For example, I would like to single out the Ministry of Defense, right? What's the role of the military in climate change? It's something that we often don't see being discussed at our national levels. We, even within our national climate change committees, we would like to see more of these different players. I would like to break down what I mean by the Ministry of Defense or the security being involved. Is, for example, we've got a naval army, naval base here in Warfish Bay. What does sea level rise mean for them? How about introducing biofuels towards some of the aircrafts and jet craft so that you can reduce the impact, and also renewable energy appliances within the ministry, or GIS technologies to help monitor this drought and all of these environmental changes, because these are the emergencies we are going to face in the future more than we would face confrontational army-to-army battles. So last year with the Omake operation, we would see that we trimmed a lot of riverbeds along the city to curb crime. Now, if we are smarter, we can even go further and say we can use the army to do mass reforestation, replanting of urban areas. We can plant more trees with the capacity and power of the army, and also we can increase their role. So it's trying to find new ways for each industry to survive in this new technologically advanced world. We're dealing with very complex problems daily, from climate change to automation, robotics, artificial intelligence, to migration. There's a lot of things that are going to be very difficult for nations, and I think as Namibian citizens, the question you want to ask yourself is, what does my career and my field mean in this, and how can I ensure that I get myself equipped with the skills that would make me relevant when the time comes?
Mm-hmm. I mean, clearly the climate is falling apart as the years go by, and families and communities and lives are all falling with it. Now, as you mentioned, if it's not resolved, future generations will be affected. Vulnerable people are going to be affected. But then again, some argue that we can't solve climate change and issues such as poverty if we do nothing to stop the population growth. What are your thoughts on this? And is conflating climate change and population growth not somewhat misleading?
Well, population growth is an issue of demographic and transitioning of our society. You would see that some things are inevitable. When you develop, you're gonna have a particular pattern of your population growth and trends. Now, rather maybe what I'm understanding from the question is, what is the role of population growth, or rather, what is the impact of climate change on population growth? I think that's more a question of urban development and policies that ensure that people have access to things like land, security of tenure. If people are given these benefits from where they come from, it won't really be a stress for the city. For example, City of Windhoek is having issues with water problems only simply because even the little water the city has is not enough for the population growth that the city is seeing. The city is growing faster than almost any other in the country, and so you would find that City of Windhoek's population growth definitely means stress on water resources, stress on ecosystem services. You've seen how, for example, the ladies who harvest camel thorn seed pods in order to go and sell them for drought relief strategies. Some of them would go and even harvest some of these plants while they're still not in a stage that's ready for harvesting, and that causes some type of deforestation. Stress on land. People are now forced to live in very precarious places and situations. We've seen how the floods would carry away somebody's family, and the entire house was displaced due to that here in the city's riverbed. So population growth in itself, I think, is a matter of policies in migration and development in rural areas. And climate change is something that I don't significantly think we can single down to population growth, but we can almost look at how it impacts every other problem we're facing, whether it's migration or even crime. What's the role of climate change inducing crime? So That's